Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed the coffee break from and the popcorn break from Big Delicious Planet. I would encourage all of you to please take your seats so we can begin the annual board meeting. You should have the agendas in front of you, so grab your last snack or whatever, and we will call the meeting to order. Time is 4:33. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Associated Church Press Annual Meeting for our year. First order of business, I would entertain a motion. We have the agenda before us. Well, the agenda is before you, and we also have persons online. I'm told that you can't speak to us, but we can speak to you, so we'll talk about that. We'll say more about that in a second. But the agenda is before us with one correction. We would like to move the open discussion to item number 7 and reverse that with nominating, update, and vote. So the order will be 5 bylaws discussion, 6 nominating, update, and vote, 7 open discussion, and then 8 close. Those are that is the order that we are proposing. So if there is no objection, we will take the agenda as presented as our agenda for the meeting. Seeing no objection, we will move forward. Also, if there is no objection, for the purposes of the annual meeting, the executive director will serve as the secretary. Yes, Brother Sprague?
Just a note, 3:30, not 4.
Oh, that's right, because we're in Central, and my phone, you can blame the computer of the executive director that's on Eastern Standard Time along with myself. Thank you, Dr. Sprague. It is duly noted. 3:30 Central Time. All right, seeing no objection, we've asked the executive director to take the minutes. At this time, before us are the opening remarks from the president. This is page 1. This is our custom, so I will read these, and there are a few additions here. So there are no action items here, so I'll just read these from the chair. So to begin, and let us consider how to provoke one another to love and good deeds, not neglecting to meet together as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. Hebrews 10:24-25. I am pleased to give my second and last report as president of the Associated Church Press. The landscape of Christian journalism continues to change, bringing forth innovations and challenges. Yet the Associated Church Press continues to bring us together so that we can bear each other's burdens and share each other's witnesses and triumphs. We, however, must be conscious of the need for a unique brand of testimony in these times as faith-based journalists. Indeed, our board secretary, Jocelyn Bell, and her colleagues from Canadian press organizations communicated that they, in good conscience, could not attend this meeting physically due to the political climate of the United States. As yesterday in the opening worship service, I would like to observe a brief moment for them, moment of encouragement, moment of reflection. We are happy to be joined by one of our Canadian Adventists here. We talked afterwards. She's a sister in Chicago. She's visiting. But for Jocelyn and the Broadview staff who decided on vote to not come, let us take a moment to remember and encourage them. Thank you. The season we are in now calls for us to face unprecedented yet real challenges. The continuing conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza, combined with the torrent of actions from the current United States president, have created a moment that truly tries men's souls. More than ever, we need fellowship, friendship, and support from each other. This year's convention, with the theme Connect, Collaborate, Celebrate, reminds us that our time together should be filled with joy and renewal, even when looking at the challenges we see around us. When I came to you last year, I indicated that the ACP was still mainly in the season of reflection as we peered beyond the veil of the COVID-19 pandemic. Much has happened since that time. First and foremost, we celebrate our new executive director, Rebecca Snyder, who is shepherding her first of what we hope to be many ACP conventions. Let's give a round of applause for Rebecca. and we are grateful to have you here, and you will hear more from her in this annual board meeting. Second, the board has comprehensively reviewed the bylaws, thanks to our past president, Celeste Kendall-Shank, who we'll be hearing more from her later on, helped spearhead that process. And considering past and current practices, we submit revisions for your approval to make the ACP more flexible and member-driven. Our members are why this organization exists, and we are thankful to all of you for investing time, talent, and treasure in its efforts. Our membership continues to grow with new and returning publications and individuals. Our executive director will talk more about the number of new members we have, but are there any new members, publications right now in the board meeting? If you just, wave at us, first-time attendees, say hello, thank you. We are excited to have you here. And please come back next year. We are also grateful to this convention sponsors, contributors, and those who participated in our awards contest. We encourage you to share the ACP with your colleagues to strengthen our family. The hymn says, "Time is filled with swift transition." I did not expect 2 years as president to pass as quickly as they have, but here we are. I thank the board for the support and collegiality, particularly Sally, who was upstairs working, who has stepped in when needed, and my predecessor, Celeste, whose role I will soon occupy as past president. I would also be remiss if not saying that Celeste, having served her role as past president, will officially rotate off the board as of this session. So we give her a warm round of applause for her service. And we'll hear a bit more from Celeste in the open discussion section. I congratulate the new members of the board who will be voted upon today, and my successor as president, Randy Hobson, the living embodiment of the servant leader. God has already guided your steps, and I know that you will lead well. Hold on, hearing something is off on the thing?
I think Jocelyn's on the wrong live stream mic. I'll text her about it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Finally, I am thankful to all of you who continue to support the mission and vision of the ACP by your presence here today as we move through the season together. Thank you very much for the opportunity to have served as your president. It's been my honor and a privilege, and I am confident that with Randy at the head, we will continue to do better and do more as the Associated Church Press. Thus ends my remarks. Before we move to the financial report, we're going to make sure that the Canadian members are on the right live stream because we do need them for quorum. Sally, you missed your shout out. I just, said thank you. So yeah.
All right, let me just send it to her. Sorry, the pressure.
Oh, that's fine. Take your time, Second City will still be open.
So true. She'll be on in just a moment.
Okay.
So do you want me to carry on?
Well, actually, next up is the treasurer's report,
so that's
and then
Heidi.
yeah. But before Heidi comes up, as I was waiting for our Canadians to get in, but I do want to acknowledge. I was trying to work through this. So my girlfriend decided to show up to see what actually we do. So Shanae, just wave at everyone. Thank you for being here. Shanae lives in Maryland, so Rebecca's promised me that the next time I'm visiting Shanae, we're going to go have Old Bay seasoned something or another, because that's all they use in Maryland.
100%.
So that will happen. So are we clear with Jocelyn? She good to go?
I believe so. Yeah, I haven't heard back.
Okay, well, as Heidi comes up, I will invite our treasurer, Heidi Thompson, to come up, and by the time she begins her presentation and finishes it, we assume the Canadians will be on. So Heidi, please give the treasurer's report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. John. All right, friends, my job is to present our financial report as well as our budget for 2025, and at the conclusion of my report, we'll have time to have some conversation for you to ask questions, and then you will be invited to vote on the budget. So I want to say a couple of things. First, you might want to turn to this page in your packet, which has the financials for the last several years. A couple of notes about the year we just ended. So we're on a calendar year financial schedule. So 2024 we ended the year with a deficit, which means we spent more than we brought in, but we had reserves, so we were able to do that. And there were a couple of leading reasons why that happened. One was, as you're all aware, we had a leadership transition in 2024. And so that part of that transition meant that our membership renewals went out later than they have gone out in the past, which pushed some of that revenue, that membership revenue money, into 2025. So that was one contributor to the deficit. The other were higher conference and awards contest related expenses last year. I believe the software that we used to manage the contest increased fairly significantly last year. And as a result of those things, we adjusted some planning and budgeting so that this year we expect to break even for 2025. So for 2025, we are anticipating less conference revenue, but also less expenses. We've got a smaller group this year. Good news is that we have more members as of this point in the calendar year than we did at the end of last calendar year. So we expect more membership revenue to come in. Our new executive director, Rebecca, is also introducing new revenue generating programs. She'll tell you a little bit about the Best Practices Summit that will happen in the fall. Overall, we're excited about many of the new things that Rebecca has introduced for the ACP that we hope is going to lift the visibility and also increase the opportunity and the value for you members and also for potential members. So we expect to end 2025 at break even. Our conference expenses will be less. The awards expenses will probably be about the same. And as you'll note from the 2025 budget line, our biggest source of income is around the awards entries, and then after that would be membership and the convention. So those are our primary revenue drivers, and then our primary expenses are also around the conference, the awards program, and of course the management fee for our executive director. So I think I will stop there and ask and invite any questions or comments about the financial report or about the proposed budget.
Heidi, how much of the membership renewals that came in late do you expect to go into this year's budget? Like it was just over $9,000 on a $22,000 budget.
Yeah, so because most people paid their due, our dues are backloaded to that last quarter. And so what you'll get is probably the 11,000 that you see, or 10,000 that you see in memberships and membership renewals. That will be added to what ordinarily would be all billed out and primarily all paid in the bulk of the third quarter. So we expect our membership to that's why we budgeted it for 22,000, because we expect that 9,000, which should have been, you know, kind of evenly split between 2024 and 2025, we put it mainly into 2025 because we knew that that timing issue was occurring. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
And really, we're on a cash basis, so for those of you who don't think about the financials, it's not like we take in the revenue when we bill it out. We take in the revenue when we actually cash the check. So it's always confusing when you cross years.
Any other questions or comments?
All right, seeing no questions, I will entertain a motion to receive the financial report as well as the budget for this year. Is there a motion? I see Brother Spraggins' motions. Is there a second? I hear the second. The question before us is on the approval of the budget and the financial report. Any unreadiness? Seeing that all those are ready to vote, those in favor, please raise your hands. Thank you. Those opposed, likewise. Abstentions? Is so ordered. Thank you, Heidi. All right, and now one of my favorite moments. I would like to call forward and give a rousing welcome to Rebecca Snyder for her first report. Yay! Y'all could do better than that. Her first report as the Executive Director at the Associated Church Press. Rebecca.
Great. Well, thank you all so very much. It's been a joy to be with you. I'm just going to scroll down so that those online, Jocelyn and our Canadian friends are online. We're all set now, so you can see the Executive Director report. I apologize that we're not streaming it up there. I'm not quite sure why life is treating us like that. But as many of you may know, I did begin my work with ACP in September. It has been, this has been a group that is both collegial and so welcoming. My background is in the secular news media. I run, as part of my association management business, I run a trade association that covers Maryland, Delaware, and DC news outlets, both print and online. We don't really deal with TV. And so as part of my work there, we run an annual contest, we have an annual conference, and there's a lot of synergies, to use an overused word, between the organizations. And so it's been fun to be inspired by the work of each organization. We are so grateful to have had Greg Brecky's leadership for 7 years. And I am glad to build on that strong foundation. Greg couldn't be with us because he's on assignment elsewhere, but sends his warm wishes. And when we had our board retreat back in October, we really, we had been listening to I had been doing a lot of member calls and we had been discerning what was important to members. And it really came about that members want to connect with one another. They want to collaborate with other organizations. And I always feel like we need to celebrate. And so we, as a board, decided that that was going to be our theme. I guess maybe I'm a marketer at heart, because I feel like sometimes it's important to have a theme or a hook that we'll have annually just to center our programming, to say, this is what we're going to do this year. And so we do want to always, when we look at connecting, what you'll have, and actually if I had my screen up, you'd have a QR code where you could download the first member directory in a while, but I will have to email that out to you. So you can tell me as soon as you get that link, what's wrong with it, and we will fix whatever things are incorrect. And essentially that member directory, what I was hearing from so many members, and also when I looked at our website, we didn't really have a listing of our members. Last year you had 54 member organizations. Now it's organizations and independent journalists. To date you have 60 members. So your membership is growing. I think that's important. It's also important to be realistic and know that that growth is not coming from your top tier. You know, there are no behemoths in the Christian media world that are not already members for the most part. the members that are coming in tend to be in that smaller independent. So it's important to build that tent big and make sure that we're providing a safe harbor and home. This is the only organization that crosses all the denominations and really thinks about the work of Christian media through a journalistic lens. And so it's a lot, there's a lot to be proud of. You are unique in that landscape in my mind, and there's room for everyone. So your member directory will show that, and it will provide ways to say, oh gosh, I need to know who the social media director at all my parallel organizations are. We hunted down everybody's website and found that information. So that's one of the things that I wish you would have right now, but you'll have to wait until the end of the day when I email you. The other connecting piece that we really are focusing on is connecting Christian media. Now that's a Zoom call that happens the third Wednesday of each month at 12:30 Eastern Time. And that's a sort of that was inspired by actually Jocelyn Bell and Bill Fletteris and the Canadian Christian Communicators Association. They do a monthly water cooler conversation. And I thought that would be a great way for our members to connect with one another. Not in sometimes we connect and there's so much programming that it's hard to really just talk to someone. So sometimes it'll be unprogrammed, sometimes there will be topics. For our May session, it will be debriefing the conference. For June, we have Victoria White from Faith and Leadership talking about how grant making 101. And so we'll do different things throughout the year. So I invite you to come to that. You can also get an Outlook, a calendar event for that if you like. The other, and I think as you all have seen and as we've talked about through the conference, it's important to collaborate. Everyone is doing more with less, or their mission is so large that it's hard to contain it within just one group of people. And so that push to collaborate and to share best practices and learn from one another is really important. And so to that end, we're going to be unveiling a virtual best practices summit. We'll do that September 17th, which happens to be the third Wednesday of September. And that will be an online summit where we really look to the best practices of our members for presentations and things like that. So you can look for more information on those things. The other place that I sort of think of as collaboration is we have a lot of independent journalists in the world. We also have a lot of Christian news organizations, and those constituencies want to meet, they want to collaborate. And so we'll be discerning over the next couple months and into the year the best way to facilitate those connections. So that's another area as we go. The other piece in terms of collaboration that I just wanted to share with you is that we want to also provide more pathways into ACP. So right now, if you want to be involved in ACP, you get to be on the board. And I'm so very grateful that people do answer that call and people come on the board. But that's kind of a heavy ask, just to be like, hey, Nick, you seem great. You want to be on the board next year? Not many people say, yes, I'm going to do that. So we're developing some, we won't use the word committee, more teams to work with some really specific tasks. So one of the big needs is to recruit and cultivate judges for our contest. We really want to make sure that the people who are judging that contest are top notch, that we can say, yes, that's where we want to be. And also that the load is not too heavy for any individual. So having more judges is better than having fewer. And then also getting advice, support, and resources for professional development programming, which we can do by webinars or whatnot. And so things like that, those teams can source ideas and speakers and topics. So more to come on that because we really want to make an impact together. And then finally, that celebration piece. We want to make sure that the visibility of Christian news media is raised up. I'm sorry, that was so grammatically wrong. all the editors in the room just shivered. So throughout the remainder of the year, you'll be seeing each of our first place winners being showcased on our social media, because we want you to sort of get the gravitas, the recognition, and the visibility of winning awards, which are actually pretty competitive. You'll also see all of our winners will also have the opportunity to have that badge, like here's your Award of Excellence badge or so forth. You can use that badge, especially for our best in class winners. That's so powerful to put and publicize in your organization, to say we were best in class newspaper, or we were best in class social media presence, or whatever the case might be. So I urge you to do that. And then finally, we'll also have our masterclass series. So for some selected categories from our contest, we're going to invite the winners of those categories to come and present to the membership, to really tell the story behind the entry. And so all those are pieces, and if you think about it, this is what we all have to do in our own organizations. We can't have a silo. We have to make every piece that we do work double duty, or triple duty sometimes, and really keep reinforcing. So those are some of the things that you can see, that you'll see going forward. And I really welcome the ideas, the thoughts, because ACP is strong when you all are getting what you need out of the organization. So never be shy about saying, hey, this is where the need is, or have you considered doing X, Y, Z? I'm truly very excited to work with you all, to talk with you all, and make ACP a stronger, more vibrant organization. So thank you very much. Now Jocelyn can have the member directory there too.
Yeah,
I know.
It's fitting they can get it first. We still have to wait to email it out. But,
I'll email it out. Now onto bylaws. That's so exciting.
I know, right? All right, so Celeste, if you wouldn't mind coming up for joining me at the dais, please. Thank you. So the board underwent a comprehensive bylaws review process, and I'll just say this from the chair. These were emailed out to all the members and persons registered before the meeting multiple times. So keep that in mind when we start considering them, that these should have been read before this meeting. But Celeste?
And we know we all have busy schedules, but so John's and my goal in reviewing these bylaws is to update some of the language, since, as has been noted previously in this convention, this organization is more than 100 years old, which is amazing, but it means we need to keep our documents, like our bylaws, living documents. So previously, there was more of a focus on publications than is the case now. Some of us are individual members and independent authors, such as myself. There has been some print digital kind of bifurcation in these bylaws that we were just looking to just harmonize that, and recognizing that most of us are hybrid. Most of us have both a digital publication and a print publication if we have that, or like in my case with a print book and an ebook. So we want to just make that language a little more clear. One of the bigger changes is around committees. As Rebecca mentioned, we don't need to be weighed down with committees. We want to have some teams that are doing specific tasks rather than having standing committees that kind of exist for their own sake. At least that's my goal. I may be slightly biased against standing committees. One of the things that we are eliminating that is a bigger change that I just, for the sake of transparency, want to note is that we didn't see a need to have a membership committee any longer. We welcome and celebrate new members. If there were something to arise where there were a question about whether someone was a good fit for the ACP, the board would discuss that. So there's some removal in the bylaws. And if there were a need for further discussion with the membership as a whole, we would bring that to you all. But we didn't see a need for a membership committee that then would have to be recruited for and recruited for again and so forth. So that's one of the bigger changes. We also have some changes to the guidelines for membership, again, just intending to make things more streamlined, more up to date for the present circumstances. And then I think that is it for the major changes. There's some, I'm a copy editor partly by trade, so a lot of those little red marks are just me cleaning things up as copy editor. But any questions or concerns at this time?
All right. Are there any questions from the chat from Canada, Rebecca?
No.
All right. Seeing none, at this time, the bylaws have been duly per our procedures and bylaws. The revisions have been submitted to you all in advance of the meeting. At this time, I will entertain a motion to adopt these bylaws as well as the including statements of ethics and standards of professional practice, statement of ethics, and the standards of professional practice to be the current bylaws and standards for the Associated Church Press. Is there a motion? Okay, Randy Hobbs' motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, if there is a second, is there any discussion on this matter? Further discussion? All right, seeing none, we do have a quorum present. Per our current bylaws, 2/3 are needed to advance this motion. Those in favor, please raise your hands. Okay, and I'm assuming the count on Canada, just check the phone, should be affirmative. All right, well, congratulations. We have new bylaws. Thank you, Celeste. Yay. So the last time we did that was 2015. So in 2035, whoever's here could try it again. All right. So now as we move on to try to get out of here, we are going to handle the nominating report, the fun time. If you will turn to the nominating committee slate, we are excited to first let me recognize those persons who will be continuing on the board. I see Sally Hicks. If you could just raise your hand and stand, or well, they knew who you are. Sally's our vice president. Also, Jocelyn Bell will be continuing on as secretary. And I will be continuing on as past president. We do, however, have new persons and Rose Schrott-Taylor, if you could, Rose is here, or Spraggins will be also continuing on as member at large. Raise your hand. We will be electing, however, two new persons and elevating one person to this prestigious office of president. Thank God. So, Alan, and reconfirming our treasurer. So, if you flip to the back of the page, I will ask these persons to come forward and just stand so that you all can see them as we do our vote. So first, I'd like to invite Lee Cato, who has been nominated to be a member of the class of 2028 to serve as first term on the board. Reverend Lee Cato is a native of the small rural town of Jefferson, South Carolina. He is a graduate of Presbyterian College with a BS in biology and a graduate of Vanderbilt Divinity School, Tennessee, and South Carolina. What's there not to love about this man? I will also say that his thesis work incorporates the intersection of songwriting and queer theology with a focus on incarnational theology and embodiment. The funnest fact about him is that he lives in Nashville with his beagle Rupert and his husband Will. So Lee Cato nominated for at-large member. You can applaud him and interrogate him later. Come on down, Cassidy Klein, member of class of 2028 nominated to serve her first term on the board. Cassidy Rose Klein is a journalist, writer, and editor based in Chicago. She has been an editorial assistant at Sojourners Magazine and U.S. Catholic Magazine. Cassidy lives at Sophia Community, an intentional community in Hyde Park. She studied journalism and philosophy at PLNU, class of 2020 in San Diego. Cassidy Klein, folks. We need like the Price is Right music or something. Now, moving up to our officers. To renew her term on the board for a second term and as treasurer, we present to you Heidi Thompson, the money lady. Heidi Thompson is a publishing executive that has helped nonprofits leverage the science of marketing to build audiences, cultivate donors, and earn revenue for over 25 5 years. She is former publisher and CEO of Religious News Service. She has also served as the VP for Marketing and Publishing of Sojourners Magazine. A tech-inclined and data-driven marketer, she specializes in email, website, and social media marketing with a focus on building digital programs that draw users from being casual visitors to financial supporters. Thank you, Heidi, for your service, and we hope that they will see fit to let you stay for another 2 years. And last but certainly not least, let's scroll down to make sure that our friends online can see everything. I present to you Randy Hobson, nominated for president. Manager of Multimedia and Design for the national headquarters of Presbyterian Church USA, with extensive expertise in a wide variety of creative areas, including interactive media, video, and motion. He has excellent communication skills, as we will see through our board meetings for the next 2 years, combined with the ability to relate well with people at all levels. And he is known for the ability to deliver outstanding results on time within budget. He has extensive hands-on knowledge of design, software, and tools. To you all, I present, these are the nominees from the board for the positions on the board for the class of 2028, as well as for our president. Do I hear a motion to accept these nominees? I see a motion. Is there a second? Second. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion. Sally, you had your hand up long. You want to say something, or you ready to? Oh, I'm about to say. Seeing no discussion, we move on to voting. Those in favor, please raise your hands. Those opposed? Congratulations. It is so ordered. Congratulations. Now, we're going to welcome y'all at the end of this. You all can sit down, and we're going to welcome y'all back up in a second. Randy, don't go too far, because now we're going to move into open discussion. So have a seat. Don't go too far now. Now, before we close, we are moving into open discussion. There are 2 items that I would like to bring before you, and then we will close. So first and foremost, I would like Celeste Kendall-Shank to come forward. She will be rotating off the board after 7 years?
I think so.
It's longer than Gilligan's Island. So, as is our tradition at the Associated Church Press, when one has completed such a distinguished service, we would like Celeste to say a few words as the past president who is about to rotate off the board, and we have a token in her honor that we will share. Celeste?
Thank you, John. This is really just such an exceptional group of people. Dell Banks, who was our keynote speaker this morning, was one of my earliest mentors in journalism. We worked together at Religion News Service. And then Julie Poulter and Cindy Martins are also here from Sojourners, another 2 people who have been a big part of my career. And so then everyone I've worked with and gotten to know since, including people I'm meeting for the first time today, it just makes my heart very full to be part of this wonderful group of people who are seeking to use our gifts and our skills in journalism and communication for the good of God's people around the world. And I'm grateful to have been a part of you and to have served. And I won't go away entirely, but I will take a rest.
Now, Celeste is also an accomplished author, and she has written her first book. We traditionally give a gift on behalf of the award of the person leaving the board, and so we, or the Christian Recorder, bought copies of Celeste's book for the entire board. So every board member will receive an autographed copy of Celeste's book, and she has a whole lot more of them in her house. So if you would like to buy a book from Celeste, she will be seated right there afterwards, and I strongly encourage you to make your reservation so you can get your book tomorrow. But 9 of them have already been spoken for, and she will bring those here for the board tomorrow. Celeste, thank you. Before we move to the final issue in seriousness, are there any other items for debate or discussion before the assembly at this time? Yes?
Just a question.
Sure.
We're going to be meeting back here in 2026?
That is a very good question.
So that is, we are in discussion with the Canadian Communicators Council to see if we can go to Toronto next year. So we are looking to, Chicago has treated us very well. We've been very happy here with the hospitality of Fourth Pres. The board is willing. We couldn't really make that happen until we hear from our Canadian friends on this, but I've reached out, and I can't understand why people wouldn't want us. So I would start to make our plans for Toronto, but more will be coming on that shortly.
Thank you.
We really are, and to that end, we're also trying to work farther ahead. So maybe we can even get out 26 and 27 dates shortly. So we'll see.
From as when Celeste was president, we have been talking about trying to figure out long-term if we could rotate and how we could rotate the meetings. So this has been something we've been talking about for about 2.5 years. So we're finally going to try it next year. Well, seeing nothing else before this is, yes, Reverend Spraggins.
I'd like a picture of the group that was just.
Oh yeah, all the new board members afterwards, please come up and get your photo afterwards when we're done. But it would be great pleasure at this time to bring up our president-elect, Randy Hobson, for a few final words before we formally close. Randy?
Well, I'm not a speaking person or a words person, but the 5 minutes before the meeting started, John warned me to have some words ready, Dr. Thomas. So I didn't have time to paint a picture or make a hilarious animation about how important the ACP is. I love this organization. You legitimized my work. And then to further that, I was self-taught. I tried to go to the National Press Photographers Association events and other things, and they had nothing to offer me that this organization hasn't from the lens of journalism, and I'm so grateful for it. And that's about all I'm going to say, but I want to thank Dr. Thomas for the transition that he oversaw to a new executive director and his hospitality in Nashville at his home offices. I want to thank Celeste for her unwavering time on the board and her attention to detail. I think we all do this every day, and we see that our numbers are dwindling, and you might feel like what you do is not important or that it's run-of-the-mill, but it's not. And so I hope we can all have a great time in Toronto. I'll take credit for that. But it's a pleasure and an honor to be involved with all you wonderful folks. So thank you.
Is there any other business before this assembly? At this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, it's moved. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, seeing the adjourn is no discussion on that motion, so those in favor, please raise your hands. Those opposed? Don't see any hands. We stand adjourned. Congratulations.